Welcome to my channel. This is TrinityGaiaOracle. I will be doing this basic introduction at the beginning of each part of this installment, as it's been brought to attention that I need to release this in installments. I'm not sure exactly how many at this time, but I will label them, and to fully see the entire picture of the reading, to have all the information and really value like specific pieces of it, as knowing that it's a synchronicity for you, yet also understanding all of it. It's a full picture. It's a full painting. It's both the micro and the macro. And I want to express gratitude. Thank you very much for being here, for taking the time out of your lives, away from your responsibilities, your family, your job, your projects, wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. With that, I will let the current installment proceed. Thank you. Welcome to today's channeled reading. This is Trinity Gaia Oracle. As you can see, today's reading is a little different than the other readings that I have done. This is inspired by my dad. My dad served in the military. He was in the National Guard. He inspired me in so many ways. A lot of what I understand and know about what it is to be masculine and be balanced in feminine energy, he had no problem owning his feminine side. He was so wise. And I miss him every day. He was in the first activation to Iraq. And I was in high school at that time. News was starting to spread about how people were saying they didn't support our soldiers. And I knew enough about what happened in Vietnam to know that that was not a burden, because my uncle served in Vietnam. He came home to being hated. He was drafted. He had no choice. And he survived, and he came home. And because of that, I have two cousins that are amazing men that are fathers. And I have nieces and nephews and cousins, and because he survived and he came home to being hated. So in high school, I was not okay with that. There was a volunteer that made the banner, and I did a speech. And it's still true today. I know that, like, he was such an inspiration to me. Because he was balanced. And he was willing to give his life so that people could say whatever it was that they wanted to say. Because that was something he believed in. Freedom of speech. In my speech to the school, and I was a quiet kid, I wasn't very popular, I was misunderstood, I was bullied. But when something's wrong, it's just wrong. And I wasn't going to let my dad or anyone that stood next to him that helped him come home think that they didn't matter. So I did the speech, and it wasn't about politics. It wasn't about politicians. It was about the men and the women that were taking the chance that they didn't get to come home, that they didn't have a future, that died there so that others would. And I was worried that no one would sign it. And there are signatures all over this. The quiet girl that people bullied and misunderstood and just didn't fit anywhere. But they heard the truth in my voice and they couldn't deny it. Because what if it was you? A lot of the people that served with my dad, they were young kids. They signed up to get, bachelor's degrees on the government's pay. Like, they didn't think they were going to go to war. They ended up over there, and they were not prepared for it. It's not what they thought would ever happen. So he ended up playing dad to a lot of the younger people that were like 21, 22. Because he had been in a couple of wars leading up to Iraqi freedom. I haven't opened the box that had this banner in it. This was hung up in their barracks, or their chow hall, I think, where all the soldiers that came into that space, they would know that they mattered, that what they were doing mattered to the next generation. And that's really something that he always spoke about with such conviction when he did, was that it's about the next generation. So many of our people, like, depending on what age group you're in, you're set in your ways. You know what you believe. But the youth, they're vulnerable to being molded. And freedom of speech is so incredibly important for them to be able to understand why they believe what they believe, and to be able to argue against what they believe so that they can be even more firmly rooted in the truth of why they believe what they believe is what they believe. If you never have anyone challenge you, you're never going to be able to justify it when it comes push to shove. My dad and my mom, they would play, it's a saying, and it's kind of triggery, but it's called playing devil's advocate. So I would say I believe X, Y, or Z. And keep in mind, I was in high school. And they would go, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And they would be asking me the questions that they knew I needed to answer in order to really own my opinion, instead of just say that it was an opinion. I needed to be able to truly own it. That if I couldn't have the answer in that moment, that I knew I would need to find it for myself. Because if I needed to change my stance or my opinion on something, my mom or my dad, they would ask me the questions so that I knew that what I thought was really what I thought. It wasn't just an opinion. It was, I have knowledge, I have information, I have data, and I have reason X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, as to why. Someone who loves you enough to play that role in your life is a gift. Because, yeah, they may piss you off. Don't get me wrong. They may piss you off. But they piss you off because they're challenging you and you don't have the answer. That is a gift. Because now you know what you need to answer to be able to know with complete conviction that this is what you think, and be able to answer why if someone asks you that question. Someone who plays that role loves you because they're willing to lose favor in your eyes for you to be able to own who you are more authentically, to know yourself more completely, and to be able to stand up independently from everyone else's opinion and have your own